So I've been able to use this little camera for the past 2 months now. And in this video, I'm gonna be deep diving into my 3 reasons why the Lumix S9 is my new favorite camera, and also give you 3 reasons why it might not be for you. Anyways, before we dive into this entire video, I do want to mention that yes, Lumix sent me out to Japan 2 months ago to check out and unveil the Lumix S9. But I've actually been personally using this camera for the last 2 months for all different personal matters and cases, and I want to dive into this video talking all about why I've been actually using the Lumix S9 and why I've been picking it up more and more than my S5 IIX, GH7, G9 Mark II, and any other Lumix cameras that I own. So the first reason that the S9 is becoming my favorite camera is it's a small, compact camera. This little camera is a fraction of the size as the S5 IIX, the GH7, the G9 Mark II, and any other really big chunky Lumix camera. This can really easily fit into my camera backpack. And the only lenses I'm really bringing currently is the 20-60 and 28-200 mil lens. I do, however, wish that there was a better pancake or compact lens than this guy right here, because the 26 mil f8 has not been hitting it for me. I've been trying to use this lens more and more, but honestly, I'm super excited when the 18-40, I think it's an f4.5 to f6.3 lens. When that lens comes out, I think that lens will be so much better of a compact lens for this little camera. So I'm super excited to get that lens and start testing that out whenever that one comes out, because I think that will be the perfect little combination using hybrid zoom, having that lens, small body. That is going to be when this camera really, I think starts taking off. There's also a bunch of little compact Sigma lenses that are on the market, like the 17 mil, 35, 50, and I think there's a 44 mil out there, which are really good with this lens. And I heard a lot of people have a lot of great opinions using those lenses with this camera. But personally, I like using zoom lenses. So the 18-40, whenever that comes out, I think is going to be a huge hit for this camera. Now, my second reason is this camera has made photography fun again for me. As a professional filmmaker and someone who runs a video production company based here in San Diego, I love shooting videos, professionally speaking, but I don't love taking photos for fun. I don't really take a lot of videos for fun. I do time to time again, but this camera for me has made photography so much fun. I don't enjoy the process of editing photos like I do with editing videos. So having the Lumix Lab app where you can just take your photos, having the looks be baked into your camera, or having them be sent over to your phone, edit on your phone and be done, has made this camera really fun for me. Also, on a recent podcast episode with Jamie House, who's a professional photographer and Lumix ambassador, she was mentioning how this camera made videos fun for her, because she is a photographer first. She loves taking photos, but she doesn't really love the process of editing vlog or color grading or anything like that with the video process. She just wants to take some really high quality videos, send it to her phone, and then be able to edit on her phone directly to Instagram. So I think as a videographer, it makes photography fun. And as a photographer, it makes videos fun again. Now, my third reason is taking personal videos. Again, as a professional filmmaker and videographer, it just feels like too much work to pull out my S5 IIX because it's typically rigged out all the time. It's never bare bones simple. So I don't ever really feel the urge to take out my S5 IIX versus taking out my phone. But with this camera, I feel like I've been grabbing this camera more and more over my iPhone to take high quality videos and photos on this. And the great thing that I specifically like about taking videos and photos on this over my phone is all this can do is take videos and photos. Meanwhile, my phone has my apps. It has Instagram, it has social media, it has messages, phone. I can email people, I can check work, I can check my calendar. There's so many distractions with an iPhone these days, which just kind of brings it back to the simplicity of just taking videos and photos and then truly just living in the moment wherever you are. If that's your kid's birthday party, or that's taking photos or videos when you are traveling with a spouse. I've been really enjoying this for living in the moment, taking those videos, taking those photos, and then actually enjoying it with no distractions of my phone. And on top of that, this has 128 gigabytes of an SD card versus my phone is limited on storage space as well. So for taking personal videos or taking personal photos, this has been my go-to grab over my phone every single time now, because I've been enjoying living in the moment using this camera versus my iPhone. Now, with all that said, even though this has been kind of becoming my personal favorite camera, there is still a couple flaws on why I might not recommend this camera specifically for you. Now, the first reason is that this is not a professional camera. There is no EVF, there's no mechanical shutter, no hot shoe, no headphone jack, no fan. It has a micro HDMI. This camera is not meant for professionals. It's not meant to shoot for long periods of times. There is record limits. There is a ton of different limitations for this camera. So if you're looking for a professional camera that you can shoot documentaries or films or do for professional work, this camera isn't going to be the camera designed for you. If you're looking for a camera that can shoot social media content or personal life stuff, then this camera could be for you. The second thing is the price point. Yes, the price point is a little bit steep, coming around $1,500. I personally think that this camera would have been better priced at $1,299, would have been more of a fair price. Granted, if this camera does have some of the best IBIS, it has amazing autofocus, it has 6K open gate, it has a ton of different professional features. Basically, this is a camera that was made for dads or TikTokers, but put in all of the professional features that the S5 IIX has in this little tiny body, with some limitations, of course, making it not a professional camera. And then my third flaw for this camera is just the overall quality and functionality. So I feel like the quality overall is pretty solid for this camera. The only kind of gripe I have is this little dial right here on the back. I feel like this dial is just a little bit kind of gimmicky, and it just feels like I accidentally move it, or I push it, or I spin it, and when I'm trying to go through menu systems, sometimes I hit the up dial instead of the left dial. That is some area where obviously they try to keep this body as small as possible, and they had to put just smaller parts that aren't as high quality in this compact body. And then for functionality, there is a couple things that are also just a bit annoying. For example, if you hit play and you want to zoom through your photos kind of like this and see all your photos just at quick glances, you have to use this top dial, which isn't an issue until you get another Lumix camera like the S5 IIX or whatever camera. Every other single Lumix camera uses this back dial to go through your photos, but instead of this swiping through your photos like so, it zooms in your photos, or it's gonna zoom out into all of your photos like that. That was something that a lot of us creators who went to Japan were a little bit annoyed, so we did talk to Lumix. That could be a firmware update and fix, but it is something worth considering whenever you're shooting between a professional camera like the S5 IIX and the S9. There is going to be a little bit of a mental shift when you want to scroll through your photos and see everything you captured at a super fast glance. But overall, even with those personal flaws, the reason that this camera is my favorite camera is because it's a camera that makes me live in the moment and capture just my actual reality and personal life. Yes, I'm a professional filmmaker. The S5 IIX, the GH7, all of those cameras are going to be my go-to cameras for professional work. I'm not pulling this camera out for professional work. Well, not all the time. Sometimes I actually have been, but I'm not pulling this camera out for my professional work. I'm pulling out the S5 IIX. I'm pulling out the GH7. I'm pulling out all these other Lumix cameras that are a lot higher end, but for personal use, for the weekend, for when I'm going camping or traveling, I'm not bringing the S5 IIX. I'm not bringing the GH7. I'm only bringing this little camera. And actually, if Lumix actually did send me to Japan again, I'd probably only bring this camera and a couple different lenses and call it a day. I don't think I would need the S5 IIX. I don't think I would need this V-mount rig or everything like that. For vlogging purposes, I think I can use this little camera and then get away with everything just on this. Now, if you guys want to see my entire review on the Lumix S9, you can check out that video right here. And then YouTube recommends you might like this video right here. Until the next one, guys, peace.